Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Scrapper, directed by Charlotte Regan. So this is a film set in a working class housing estate about a 12-year-old girl, Georgie, whose mother has died. Somehow she's just about managing to make it work living by herself. It's a film that definitely evokes Fish Tank by Andrea Arnold and Lynn and Lucy by Faisal Bulifa. And obviously there's a rich heritage of gritty British social realist films. In an interview, the director Charlotte Regan talked about wanting to make a film in that working class environment, but with joy and colour in a way that many of these other films don't have. So it definitely doesn't have the grittiness of, say, an Andrea Arnold film. I'm not sure whether there actually is a place between gritty social realism and more conventional films, but I think that this is where the film is trying to sit. I think the idea is to make a non-stereotypical film in a working class environment, but it's interesting how the social realist films have become the stereotypical films, because I think that they were reacting to more conventional and cliched ways of dealing with working class issues in feature films. I was thinking about other films I'd seen, and I thought of Ali and Ava by Cleo Bernard, which came out a couple of years ago. That was gritty, but definitely had joy and colour in it through the character of Ali and the romance he has. In terms of my experience with Scrapper, I wasn't sure of the film at first. We opened with a number of scenes with Georgie and her friend Ali. This just didn't feel authentic. It felt like two children acting. Listen, I'm not criticising two children having a great attempt at acting. It was impressive, but just not great in terms of seeing it on a cinema screen. While I'm on the things that didn't work for me, there is more. There were quite a few scenes of people talking to the camera documentary style. I think the purpose of this was to provide a bit of comedy through the fact that all of the talking heads were a little bit quirky, but I didn't feel that this actually added anything to the film. I'm also dubious about the spiders that talk to each other in a kind of indie video game format. I think the film was strong enough just in itself without trying to be this quirky. My last quibble was that sometimes the camera was just a bit too jumpy in the chase scenes, although I was in a relatively small cinema sitting close to the screen, which can make too much movement a bit blurry. It feels like it's actually turned into quite a long list of things I don't like about this film. But I did really enjoy this film overall. When the dad turned up, who's played by Harris Dickinson, wow. It feels like the performance of the actress playing Georgie is transformed. These two actors work so well together. Obviously, it made me think of Aftersun, although it's a very different film. What is similar is the chemistry between an adult and child actor being central to what makes the film work. So as the film developed, I was definitely enjoying it more and more. It's a film about grief and how a 12-year-old might deal with it in the absence of any support. It's also about how grown up and responsible a 12-year-old can become in order to survive. And it's about a man that's still a child being ready to grow up and face up to his responsibilities. In many ways, Georgie is so mature and probably as mature as the dad, but at the same time, she is still a child. And it's the process of her awakening to the idea of her actually still having a parent left. This is where the film does get really charming and enjoyable. This is typified by the scene on the station, which I think is fantastic. I'm not 100% convinced that in avoiding the grittier elements of social realism, this doesn't just become a conventional film that happens to be set in a working class environment. I think this probably is the case. It perhaps does get a little cliched and convenient. At the same time, it's thoroughly enjoyable, with great acting performances once we get this father-daughter focus. I'd highly recommend this film. Thanks for watching. See you next time.